Time for another board recap podcast. How are you, Dr. Smith?
Great. Well, I think we have nice weather outside.
Oh,
no rain.
beautiful today.
I hear that yellow orb in the sky is called the sun.
Right.
So that's nice to see.
For a man like yourself that appreciates a good lawn, this has been a good year for grass growing. That's for sure.
Well, when
with the
you can
rain.
actually get in and cut the grass.
That's
yes.
true. That is true. So, well, let's take a look at last night's board meeting, if you will, and we'll go into good news. And I'll just say this to start good news. Congratulations, because at the end of good news last night, you got a surprise presentation by the mayor, Stephanie Terry, a key to the city of Evansville in honor of your career and with your retirement coming up.
That was special. I know the mayor has many late nights, and for her to take time out of her busy day to do that was really special. And her comments were, I'll just remember that the rest of my days. So,
and
very grateful.
It is unique because Evansville is not a small town. I mean, we're a mid-sized city, and I do find it unique that with your long career in education, 43 years you're wrapping up, you had the mayor in class. She talked about that last night as a high school band student. And then our new superintendent that will follow you, Dr. Hoover, you had in class. I'm not sure that happens in a community this size very often.
Well, I think you're right. But I think that just also speaks to the specialness of this community.
Absolutely. So congrats on the key to the city.
Hey, thank you.
Let's take a look at the rest of good news then from last night, because as we always say, there's never any shortage of good news. We celebrated the fact that pedestrian overpass opened up officially. It's been open for a little longer over Highway 41 a couple of weeks ago. I know Trustee Mike Duckworth has been a huge proponent of that for many, many years. But
long time.
You and I were both at that official ribbon cutting, and I think that is a busy intersection. So to know our Bosse students won't have to cross with crossing guards, that is certainly something to celebrate.
Certainly is. And I had the blessing of teaching at Bosse for 11 years, and the band practice lot really is right next to Highway 41. So it brought back a lot of memories. And yes, that is a busy, busy highway. So our students will be well served by that overpass.
Yes, thanks to NDOT and everyone, community and statewide, local and state officials who helped to make that happen. Congrats to some of our high school bands, 4 of our high school bands, Wrights High School, Bosse High School, Harrison, and North High School. They were all recipients of this year's Indiana State School Music Association All Music Award. I know that has to bring a smile to your face.
Certainly does, because we had so many. Our listening audience may think, well, they pass those out like candy, but that is not the case. Those are earned based upon your performance over the last scholastic year. So kudos to those directors and the bands, the students, and the families, the parents. If your child is in band and marching band,
it's a team effort, isn't it?
The parents are in too. So
absolutely,
it is.
So that is definitely something we're proud of. Once again, we're starting our new teacher orientations throughout the summer. This is through our HR department. And so each week we have a new group of new EVSC teachers who will be with us in the fall. There's always several of them who are brand new educators and always several that are coming to us with experience from other districts. So we post these pictures every week. You and I actually were just talking to this week's group, and it is so exciting seeing new educators join our team.
Certainly is. And I spoke to today's group earlier this morning, and, they're excited. But to your point, I think there are only 2 brand new teachers in there, and we have a 35-year veteran returning back to us after his short-lived retirement.
Well, welcome back to him. And
you bet.
Yeah, it is always
great teacher. So happy to have him back.
Absolutely. So you can just always sense the energy with them. Congratulations are in order. More good news to Nora Walsh. She is a longtime science teacher at Wrights High School, and she was named this year by the American Association of Chemistry Teachers as their Teacher of the Year.
Now that covers chemistry teachers in Evansville, right?
I believe so.
Is it a little bit broader than that?
No, I think it covers Evansville and everywhere, because that is a national association.
I knew I could pull it out of you some way, somehow.
Exactly.
I didn't think it would take quite that long, but
we are excited locally, statewide, and nationally,
That's right.
To your point.
So congratulations to Nora. Well deserved.
And every time, Dr. Smith, we post something like this, just like when we posted on social media about you getting the key to the city, half the fun is looking at all the positive comments and so many people saying, oh my gosh, Mrs. Walsh is outstanding, just like they do about you. But I mean, it's fun to see people's reaction when we get to recognize someone like this.
You bet.
Also, then in good news last night, we just reminded the board that our partnership is continuing. We've been promoting this heavily with WNIN. We've produced lessons that are airing every morning during the month of June at 10:30 a.m. and those are to help our young students. So families, if you have a young student out there, they can watch this. Then we post them at the end of the week on social media. But it's just to give them a little a TV lesson, if you will, with math and with English skills, reading skills, and it's by our own teachers. And we're appreciative of WNIN, and we hope people are able to take advantage of this.
Absolutely. And not only does it feature our teachers, but also our folks in central office wrote it.
Yes, put
So
together
it
the story and the characters. That's
very
exactly right.
comprehensive approach, and I don't know of another school district that has the talent to do all of that. Not just the on-screen talent, but also the
The
behind-screen talent
production side
to
of
be
it,
able to do all
absolutely.
of that. And hopefully, we keep those next year and then add to it.
Sure, sure. And we did so many of these. We've said this before during the pandemic, and it was a model that worked so well. We thought, well, let's just try it again this
Right.
summer. So, yeah, then hope people are taking advantage of that. Then we've got some kudos to go out in the world of athletics. First of all, congratulations to the North High School baseball team. They won a regional championship this past weekend. Obviously, that means the week before they had won a sectional. Central Baseball also won a sectional. So, we're very proud of these baseball players. We also kind of had some last minute additions to the good news for athletics. We had 25 EVSC athletes qualify for the state track meet. That is no small feat. And we had 3 students who medaled, meaning they finished in the top 9 spots. So I'm going to give a shout out to Diamante Lane, who finished 9th place in the 200-meter dash. Shout out to Dejanay Lane, who medaled in 2 events, the 100-meter dash, 5th place, and 2nd place in the 200-meter. And then finally, Nolan Jackson, who finished 3rd place in the state in the 3,200-meter event. So congrats to them. And then just during the meeting last night, we found out that North's golf
Boys
team,
golf.
boys golf, won, what was it, their 8th or
Their
9th?
ninth.
Their 9th consecutive sectional
Yeah.
championship.
That's exciting.
That's good news.
You bet it is. And
Lots of good news.
to win once is incredible.
But 9
Twice in a row,
times.
but 9 consecutive times.
Yeah. And anybody who
That's a
follows
feat.
high school sports, sometimes you might think, oh, okay, over a 2, 3, 4 year period, you have a group of athletes. But 9 years means you've got kids that have graduated many years ago and new talent coming in.
Right.
It really is amazing.
Absolutely.
And that wraps up good news. So if you will, take us into consent, please.
Be happy to. Thank you. Item 3.02, consideration allowance of payments. This time over the 2-week period, it was $12,717,283.11. Pretty typical for this time of year in a one pay period. And then also we had over $4 million worth of invoices, some purchase of some buses. So that's why that amount is higher than normal. Item 3.03, consideration to approve the resolution for payroll procedures for calendar years with 27 pay periods. So we pay on a biweekly system, and every 5 to 7 or 5 to 11 years, there is another 2-week period of time in that 52-week calendar when we pay every other Friday. So the last several times that this has occurred, we had worked out a procedure that worked very well. So we wanted to make certain that for the situation coming up in 2026, that everybody would know about it well in advance. So this really does memorialize this with a resolution that says this is how we're going to handle those 27 pay periods in a 52-week calendar. Moving on then to item 3.04, consideration to approve the resolution regarding the purchase of gift cards from extracurricular accounts. So really this is just aligning what the State Board of Accounts expects school districts to do, and providing gift cards for incentives or gifts has become very popular. So this simply aligns everything that we are required to do with our policy. Item 3.05, consideration of the ratification of the correction to stipends for food service staff. So in the previous board meeting, the board was approving of the stipends for food service. Unfortunately, there was a typo in that. Instead of hitting the dollar sign, the shift wasn't hit, so it hit a 4. So we just wanted to make certain that there was not that there could be no confusion about that. So we wanted to run it again once more to make certain that it was absolutely correct. It is interesting. Dozens of eyes are on that document, and no one caught that
I think it's
until
interesting
after
too.
it was approved.
And sometimes things like that happen, but obviously there is a tremendous dedication here to accuracy because some people may hear you say this and think, "Who cares? No one would have ever known that." But no, we want
Oh, we care.
everything correct down
Right.
to hitting the proper shift key.
Absolutely. And then next, 3.06, consideration approve the application for the school technology advancement account. So this is an opportunity that comes open to us on an annual basis. It is a component of the Indiana Common School Fund. So we will utilize these funds to refresh our Chromebook devices as well as to purchase protective shells for our high school student devices. Item 3.07, consideration to approve the renewal with Frontline Education. And Frontline Education is the software solution that we have for absence and substitute management system, as well as it provides human capital analytics. So this is a little bit more of an enhancement, but I really do love the data and the evidence that we receive from this. So it really does help us in analyzing our data to make certain that we are doing everything we absolutely can do to make certain that we have a high quality teacher in front of our students each and every day. And then the last item under consent is 3.08, consideration to approve the renewal with talking points. And I tell you what, I'll kick this over to you, Jason, because you are such a proponent of talking points. If you want to explain to the listening audience really what that does for us.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Some people may be familiar with it. Our multi-language learners, our MLL families, that department working with students has been using Talking Points since 2018, but it is such an effective tool. It's a two-way texting communication tool. It's very easy and efficient for both teachers to use, office staff, and the recipients, parents, to text back and forth. We know that's how people communicate nowadays. So if you're still teaching Dr. Smith, you can very quickly send a text to a parent and have a back and forth conversation. It fully translates it. And again, we've had such good luck with it since 2018. We piloted at a school wide basis last year in several schools. They just thought it was such a game changer. And so, with all that feedback and the data showing that people really enjoyed using it and it was very effective, we've expanded that renewal to include everyone for next year. So, parents are going to hear about this. We'll be training our staff at the very beginning of the year and always looking for a way to better communicate and engage with our families.
Yeah, thank you for those comments.
Sure.
And
And
this is a little unusual because 4.01 was listed as a consent item. There was some discussion about that, so they pulled it from
okay.
consent into action. And then, so consideration to approve weaker rates for 25-26. Uh, and I do appreciate the sentiment of board members. I think
Good
a
conversation last
board
night.
member expressed, I really don't want to raise um, rates on we care because it impacts our employees.
Which
And I
again
think
is our early learning program
right,
for EVSC employees' children.
right.
That's what We Care is.
And as I had other board members that reached out to me, no board member wanted to raise rates.
Sure,
However,
absolutely.
it does need to remain a solvent program.
Mhm.
Um, So there was good, healthy discussion. At the end of that discussion, though, it was agreed to increase the rates $5 a week.
Mhm.
But even with that increase, uh, our employees will see an average of over $5,000 less than what they would see if We Care did not exist.
And to just a brief history lesson, you really led the charge on developing this program several years ago now as really a retention strategy for EVSC employees. You know, all of us are competing for good quality, great employees, no matter what type of organization you run. And we know with 3,400 employees, we have a lot of folks that are having young children and they need quality early learning opportunities and childcare for them. And so you led the charge to create this. We don't like having to raise the rates, but it is still, as we compare it to local rates, much less expensive. For example, they don't have to pay to hold spots in the summer. That's unheard
Right.
of with childcare and early learning opportunities. So I know you take a lot of pride in this, and you want to make sure it's a program that doesn't go away in the future if at
Right.
all possible.
No, I completely agree. And I think one of the last comments I made uh, when the board and I were discussing this is that I don't, My concern is if they would delay this, that then at some point in time, they will be forced to vote on whether or not to continue it or
Mhm.
discontinue it.
Right.
And I think Trustee Kiefer made the point that his son and his daughter-in-law
Yes.
pay $15,000 a year
Hmm.
for childcare,
Right.
and our employees do not pay that,
Right. Right.
not anywhere close.
So
So
yeah, but it's always good to have good, healthy discussion. That's what
you
board
bet.
meetings are designed for. And then if you want to mention personnel
Yeah.
recommendations last night,
So personnel recommendations were approved by the board, and they are there for your perusal.
okay. And then we had three information items.
Items, yes. So item 6.01, consideration to approve the purchase of word building kits for early literacy. So this is Valley classroom kits for K through 2, and it really will replace things that we duplicate in successive years. So it is a little bit more expensive as a one-time cost, but it will certainly save us over the long haul. But the most important thing is that we think that it is a better solution than what we had. So happy for the board's consideration of that and hopefully approval at our next meeting. And then item 6.02, consideration to approve the purchase of multifunction equipment from Alpha Laser Imaging. So folks may, if they are of my vintage or older, multifunction equipment used to be known as copy machines, but now copy machines in this format, multifunction devices can be used to copy, scan, receive lots of material. So
High tech machines.
they are definitely high tech machines. Alpha Laser does a phenomenal job for us
Hmm.
in terms of maintaining, really looking out for our best interests. So they've been a great partner for a number of years, and happy for that partnership to continue.
You can never mention copy machines in a school setting without someone saying, I remember as a kid the old style machines that made the blue ink, the mimeograph, whatever they
Right.
were called, and they'd
Mimeograph.
go to the office for their teacher
Yeah,
and they could even smell the fresh ink. So somebody out
absolutely.
there listening is thinking about that back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah.
That has been a while.
Yeah,
Item
just a few years.
6.03.
6.03, consideration approve the renewal with Tyler Technologies. So we are currently with Tyler Technologies. And we've been with them, I think, since 2009. This will include an upgrade to all of our GPS software as well as equipment, and will also come with an app where parents will be able to know where their child's bus is. So I think that will be a huge benefit. We
This is
talked last
fantastic.
night about what other dynamics does that bring to us, but
Once again, good discussion.
absolutely. But, you know, we're not the first ones to use this technology. In fact, we've resisted for a little bit for a couple of reasons. First of all, our GPS software and equipment did not necessarily support that at the time, and it was newer. So we knew that as that time came for all of that, as it became obsolete, that we would look at a solution like this. So the challenges that I think are there have been resolved by other school districts, so we will certainly learn from others. We do love to be innovative. This is not
Absolutely.
one of those areas where I would say we are innovative, but we will learn how others have navigated those challenges successfully. And we look forward to having that fully on board, I believe, in January of 2026.
Yes, well said. And then that takes us to continued business. And I'll just start you off by saying I know yesterday there was a lot of excitement. You talked to the board about that, even though many of them were able to be there. Tell us about the groundbreaking that we held
Yes.
yesterday.
So the ceremonial groundbreaking was held down by the Stone Center downtown.
Downtown. Hmm.
And it really is, I've called it the old IBM building. It's on, I believe, 421 Chestnut. But the groundbreaking was for the Innovation Center for Science and Health. And we have two flagship programs in our Academy of Science and Medicine that is housed at Central, as well as our Health Sciences, which is housed in the Career and Tech Center. They will remain in those two facilities. However, in order to increase capacity, because both programs have a wait list,
Hmm.
some of the programming then will move downtown to the Innovation Center. And we have a phenomenal partnership with University of Evansville. So our kids will be mentored and have access to their faculty as well as their grad students that will be housed on a portion of the first floor. It's also literally a stone's throw away
Yes.
from the Stone Center. So we'll have great partnerships with IU.
State
Already
of the
have a
art
great
facility they're
right
going to be in. My
with
goodness.
USI and ASM in particular has partnerships with Vanderbilt and
Mhm.
Johns Hopkins
Mhm.
University. So this they're both just incredible programs. I am more excited about that than I have been, I think, for nearly anything that we've accomplished in the last few years because of the opportunities that it provides our
I
students.
think you really see the potential. Fast forward 5 years, once this facility has long been finished, it's everything's up and running. I think having our kids right smack dab, if you will, in the middle of this healthcare hub
Right.
downtown, I think you see that as the potential for student development and experiences is endless.
Completely agree. One of the opportunities that our seniors have in the ASM program is a year long capstone project where they are mentored by physicians or others in science or health. Um, and Evan Weber, who was a student from
Yes,
ASM that is now a sophomore at UE and doing
right.
phenomenal things at UE. Uh, my gosh, he spoke so eloquently
Yeah,
about
he was
the
one of the speakers at
opportunities,
the
right?
ground. Yeah.
Spoke eloquently about the opportunities that he was afforded with ASM and how well prepared he was
Hmm.
to be successful at UE.
And he's on a pre med track.
He is wants to go into, I think, neuroscience.
Hmm.
Um, it it just I was beaming with pride
Right.
yesterday in our students and in
Hmm.
the access to opportunities that they have. I believe that a reporter asked me about the importance of this, and I do know that our students are capable of incredible things. It's our responsibility to make certain
Yes.
that they have access to the opportunities that will amplify their their abilities and take them to a higher level. They have opportunities that are typically reserved for first and second year medical
Hmm.
school students, and our kids get them while they're high school students. There's not another program like it in the country. Uh, I do believe that this is going to become more than just a regional hub of excellence for training for healthcare professionals and science professionals. I think it will grow into a national model.
Well, I think you're right. And you could really sense the synergy there because we had a great turnout. So many people there, not only from U of E, EVSC, but also community,
Right.
some community leaders that I think you could just sense in people that this is a good thing and they know
You
it.
bet. Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
And once again, it typifies or it is typical. I hate to use that word. It's just another prime example of the collaborative spirit and
mhm,
nature that we have in
for sure.
Evansville and Vanderbilt County.
Yeah. That you don't see other
Right.
places.
Not too many universities
Right.
are willing uh, to partner with a K 12 institution as UE has committed to do. So hats off to UE.
Yes, for sure. Well, that wraps it up. Lots of good things to talk about from this
Absolutely.
meeting and what's been going on lately. So we appreciate you taking the time to join us, Dr. Smith.
I appreciate it too. And I look forward to my last podcast for the board recap, which will be 2 weeks from today.
That is true. You are right about that. Thank you.